There's this guy who's a king called Nebuchadnezzar. He's a complicated man, a rash, power-crazed king, some might say. He built a huge gold statue, 90 feet tall and 9 feet wide, and put it in a place for all to see. He invited everyone he felt was important. High officers, officials, governors, advisors, treasurers, judges, magistrates, and all the provincial officers. Everyone. To come and see the dedication of his statue he had set up. He was so proud of it. When they were all gathered, they gave an announcement.
People of all races and nations and languages, listen to the king's command. When you hear the sound of the horn, flute, lyre, harp, pipe, and other musical instruments, bow to the ground to worship King Nebuchadnezzar's gold statue. Anyone who refuses to obey will immediately be thrown into a blazing furnace.
And as you can expect, people knew he was serious. As soon as the music started, whoosh, they all fell to their knees. Whatever their race or nation or native language, bowed to the ground and worshipped this statue. Well, that is all but a few. You see, there were some astrologers who went to the king and informed them of the Jews. They said to King Nebuchadnezzar,
"Long live the king! You issued a decree requiring all people to bow down and worship the gold statue when they hear the sound of the horns, flutes, lyre, harp, pipes, and other musical instruments. That decree also states that those who refuse to obey must be thrown into the blazing furnace. But there are some Jews, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, whom you have put in charge of the province of Babylon. They paid no attention to you, your majesty. They refuse to serve your gods and do not worship the gold statue you have set up." Then King Nebuchadnezzar flew into a rage and ordered that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego be brought before him. When they were brought in, Nebuchadnezzar said to them, "Is it true, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, that you refuse to serve my gods and to worship the gold statue I have set up? I will give you one more chance to bow down and worship the statue I have made. You hear the sound of the musical instruments, but if you refuse, you will be thrown immediately into the blazing furnace. And then what god will be able to rescue you from my power?"
Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego replied, "O Nebuchadnezzar, we do not need to defend ourselves before you. If we are thrown into the blazing furnace, the God whom we serve is able to save us. He will rescue us from your power, your majesty. But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods and worship the gold statue you have set up."
I will stop and breathe in your presence. Just breathe. Just breathe.
So if you don't know this story, it comes from Daniel 3. And because of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's answer, King Nebuchadnezzar became furious. His face became distorted with rage. Then he commanded the furnace be made 7 times hotter than usual, and that these 3 gents be tied up and thrown into it. Surely nobody would be able to survive that. But to Nebuchadnezzar's shock, he looked into the furnace and saw 4 men, untied, walking around in the furnace, unharmed. Yes, 4 men, not 3. If you tuned in last week, when I talked about the song Child of Love, you may remember when I briefly mentioned these lyrics. "I felt the sting of the fire, but I saw you in the flames. Just when I thought it was over, you broke me out of the grave." And it's the same story that inspired these lyrics. But these lyrics also made me think of another song, Another in the Fire, which draws upon these remarkable events in this story. The writer of this song sings about times in their life when they felt under fire, when walls are closing in and there seems to be no way out. The pressures of this world seem too much. Maybe pressures to act a certain way, be into certain things, live like certain people in order to fit into society. Pressures to gossip, pressures to idolize celebrities, pressures to judge people on the way that they look. Maybe pressures to watch things that you know you shouldn't. It could be anything. But like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, when we are thrown into the fiery furnace of life and we stand up for what is right, we will never be alone, for there is another in the fire. Even King Nebuchadnezzar saw it himself. He'd thrown these 3 guys into the furnace, a furnace so hot it killed anybody who even got close. But he saw 4 people in there. The 3 men weren't alone. Their God was with them, protecting them. I was watching a video of the guy who wrote this song, and he was saying he was feeling downhearted. He felt like he didn't want to continue. He didn't want to write the song. He didn't want to follow his path. He felt like he didn't believe it anymore. How could he sing or write this song when he felt like the world was falling in around him? But maybe it was exactly this song that he needed. Going back to the 3 men in the story, before they were thrown into the fire, before they had been protected, they said, in verse 18, "But even if he doesn't, we want to make it clear to you, your majesty, that we will never serve your gods or worship the gold statue you have set up." So obviously, the writer finished the song, because otherwise we wouldn't have it. And he said he wanted to push through and make the enemy regret his decision to try and throw this hard time in his face. He wanted to shout up against the enemy and give it everything he had. For even if sometimes it seems God hasn't come through, there's an ad-lib bit in the live version of this song that says, "Even if he doesn't, I will praise him. Even if he doesn't, I will stand tall. Even if he doesn't, I'm not bowing to this world. And even if he doesn't, I'm not going to change my confession or my belief or who I believe in. Even if he doesn't, I'm going to sing louder than ever." So maybe what this song and story teaches is that in the in-between, where we don't see the bigger picture and we feel we're failing or being failed, this is okay. It doesn't affect true things being true. Some things are now and some things are not just yet. Some things are here and some things are maybe yet to come. The key is that you're never alone.
There's a grace when the heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fire, standing next to me. There was another in the waters, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears the burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fire. Oh, my dead left for dead beneath the water. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall in the space between what remains of me, hell is reckoning. Either way, I won't bow to the things of this world. And I know I will never be alone. is no other name but the name that is Jesus. He who was and still is and will be through it all. So come on, mate, in the space between all the things unseen and this reckoning.